Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Kath, the creator of The Content Bug, and I am here to help you follow your passion by growing your audience online. In this video, I'm actually going to talk to you about how to design Pinterest graphics that get more repins, more clicks, and more traffic, views, whatever you want to call it, to your website than ever before. Now, one of my biggest pet peeves with Pinterest pin designs is when people just copy other people's pins. There are so many bloggers out there that have the exact same designed pin, where of course it's a vertical pin, and then they have normal like block text. I'm gonna call it block text. I mean, it could just be any normal font, but then they use specific words that they want to bold and make really pop. They put them in cursive, and then they have other words that are just normal again, and then they have some other cursive. Typically there's two cursive or one cursive, and the rest are just normal. And of course the cursive is always in pink, and the accent color is pink, and it looks like the same old pin every single time that is overlaid on top of just a normal office or desk picture. Boring. So boring. But if you are ready to design some awesome images on Pinterest that will get you noticed, then I'm gonna walk you guys through Canva and show you exactly how I design my Pinterest pins and give you some ideas on how you can design your pins for free on Canva. Let's go ahead and get started. I've laughed enough. There are actually a couple things that I want to show you guys before we talk about how to design a Pinterest image. And the first I want to show you is actually my behind the scenes analytics. So when you go to Pinterest, you won't see this page. You will see this, and I mean, obviously your pins are going to be different, but this is considered your smart feed within Pinterest. These are pins generated what Pinterest thinks you will like the best, what you will share the most, what you will click to read. And this is just based on my interaction with Pinterest. So if you go up top, if you have a Pinterest business account, which you need a Pinterest business account if you want to take yourself seriously as a blogger, up at the top you'll see analytics, and you can go to overview, profile, people you reach. But for now, I just want to show you my website. So I just want to show you how my pins are performing on my website. So up top, this will automatically show you the last, 14 days maybe? Yeah. This will automatically show you the last 14 days, and it shows you your impressions and your viewers every single day. So you'll notice I went way up here and then I dropped back down. It goes through ebbs and flows, and I'm used to seeing this like this. But what I really want to show you guys is how many impressions, clicks, and saves I'm getting based on my pins. So in this section right here, these are my top pins impressions for the last 30 days. So this is only 30 days. The very first pin you see is how I grew my Pinterest from 7K to 100K monthly viewers in 2 months. This pin has gotten 196,407 impressions. It has gotten 1,800 clicks, and it has gotten 665 saves. Just this one pin. Now, over here, you may be confused. This says pin type. So all of my pins are rich pins. It means that I went through the process to get my website verified, and I am now approved for rich pins. I actually have a blog post all about how to get approved for rich pins. It's actually called How to Add Titles to Your Pins on Pinterest, because that's what a lot of people search for, and that's what I searched for when I started with rich pins. So all of my pins are rich pins, but then this pin was actually a promoted pin. So let me explain a little bit. This pin, let me open it. Actually, it talks about Tailwind. And specifically in this pin, I talk about how Tailwind helped me to grow my Pinterest account from 7K to 100K monthly viewers. Now, what I did was I sent this pin to Tailwind and said, hey, I mentioned you guys, this is a really great blog post. I want you to check it out. And what they did, they saved it to their board. You'll notice down here, they saved it to their board for Pinterest for beginners. Now, the Tailwind tribe, they obviously have a lot more followers than I have. So they have 24,000. So them just simply pinning it helped me a lot. But then they took it one step further, and they actually promoted my pin. They paid to promote my pin. I didn't have to do anything but send them my blog post and say, hey, I promoted you guys. Check it out. And they went and they promoted their pin. So that is why this has so many impressions and so many clicks. That's why it's done so well. Now that promotion is actually over. It was promoted for about a month, and then they stopped it. So this promotion is long over. This was actually, I think, 3 or 4 months ago that they promoted it. And this is still the traffic it is giving. Just based on that boost they gave me beforehand, it has already gotten so many clicks and so many saves that now it's still reappearing for people even though it's not promoted. So that's amazing. But if you look at the second pin, this is where things get interesting. So this pin is tips to create more successful Instagram stories. Now, I already have this blog post pulled up right here because I want to show you guys. This blog post was posted January 16th, 2018. And by the time you guys are seeing this, it's just the first week of February. So within just a couple weeks, I mean 3 weeks really, this pin has done so well. I've gotten 319 saves just on this blog post. If we go back here, you will see that just on Pinterest alone in the last 30 days, which it haven't even been 30 days that this blog post has been live, I've gotten 13,000 impressions. I've gotten 139 clicks and 96 saves, and I expect that to improve over time. But that's just to show you, it took me less than 3 weeks to get there because I had a good quality pin created. And then these two are also more recent pins. 5 practical ways to monetize your blog. And then this is what it really costs to own your blog. And each of these are different, but you'll notice that these bottom two are the exact same, because if I actually click show you more, you will notice there's 3 of those, 4, 5. You'll notice that these pins are repeated. There's 3 of these. Why that happens is because Pinterest right now does not have a way to group all of your pins into one dominant pin. So when someone repins, let's say someone repins this one, and then another person repins off of that, that actually creates a brand new pin. It's really confusing to understand, but you'll notice this pin right here is also right down here, and it's going to be multiple other times because based on the timeline of people repinning it and repinning it and repinning it over and over again, it just gets so messed up. So if you're really curious about how many saves you have per pin, that's kind of hard to understand, but what you need to have is a good calculator in place, a sharing system in place on your blog already that calculates it. So I already have 319 shares on this. The majority of this are Pinterest. That's highly where I promote my blog. And you will see that this only says that I have 96 shares. And this says that I have 665 shares, but this is just the last 30 days. If I actually go to this blog post, let's pull up this blog post for you guys. You'll see that this blog post has over 5,000 shares since its start. I mean, I've had this blog post on my website since since May of 2017. So it's been on my website for a while now, and I've gotten 5,000 shares, and the majority of that is Pinterest. So this is just to show you that this has only been the last 30 days that I have gotten these statistics right here. Now, I want to show you guys my pins, what my Pinterest profile looks like, so you guys can get a better understanding of my pins. If you go to my boards, the first board is obviously TheContentBug.com. This is my blog. And I break it down into a couple sections, but then I have all my pins down here. So I have changed the look of my pins a few times. Let me show you guys an old one. So this is an old design of my pin, but I actually have an even older one than that. Let's see if we can find it. Here, this is the first design I ever came up with my pins, with the outline of like that orangey pinky color. And I still have the overlay and the image behind, everything in that sense that stayed the same, but that outline I changed. So you can see this was my first design. This was my second design, which I got rid of the outline. I just kept the bar on the bottom and I kept everything relatively the same. And then I changed it a little bit, and you'll see I jumped to this design right here, where I went from that orangey pinky color, and I really changed the main focus of my blog to be really black and white with a hint of my blue. So my brand colors are actually this pink tone. There's a blue, and then it's this dark gray, which I have a specific gray for that, black and white. And I just wanted it to be really black and white and very simple. I didn't want this color anymore because I wasn't using it so much, and I didn't think it represented my brand. So I went to just the gray. I went from this then with normal case words, and then I changed it to all uppercase words. And you'll notice up here, here are my most recent blog posts. These are all uppercase. And I did that because it's more captivating, it's more interesting. And you can see I kind of changed the way that like the numerical values pop out, because I want these people to like really captivate it, really grip it, and say, hey, yes, I want 10 actionable tips to make your blog post look more interesting. Heck yes, I want to make my blog post look more interesting. So that's exactly why I did that. And list posts perform extremely well on Pinterest. People love quick actions, and they love to see that they're going to get results. So these pins perform very well. Now I want to show you guys how I design my pins. Now that we went over all that, when you guys get started, what I want to recommend you guys do is go to Pinterest. Take a look at different pins on your account. So all these pins look very different. They're very interesting, and you could pull some ideas from this. I mean, if you're a food blogger, this might be something you consider. Other food bloggers just have pictures. I like that idea as well. If you are a blogger like me, where you share actionable tips, how to get started with Pinterest marketing, that's a good pin. It just really depends on what you're going for. But what you can also do, so let's say I wanted to see Instagram tips. Let's see what the top performing pins are for Instagram tips. One thing I noticed is that all of these pins actually have a shade of pink, or almost all of them. So that's really interesting to note. And you may notice that in your industry, yours is a bit different. But my guess is that Instagram is a highly women-centric platform. It is actually more used by women than it is by men. I learned that stat yesterday. And this is clearly captivating female bloggers, is my guess. But if you keep scrolling down a bit, you will see the difference in different people's designs. And you could pull what you like and what you don't like. But like, this is a different way to do it with just a little pop out instead of the whole overlay like I do. It's very different, and you can just decide what layout you like the best. Hey, there's one of my pins right there. So we are going to hop over to Canva. If you guys have never used Canva before, this is Canva. All you have to do is type in canva.com, click enter, and Canva will load. These are all my projects that I've ever worked on. I've got a variety of different projects in here, but up top you will notice that you have options for different layouts. Now, if you don't know the typical size of a pin, the typical size of a pin is actually 735 pixels times 1102 pixels. That is the standardized pin size. Now, some people make exaggerated, really long pins, and they think that it's going to work best because it will take up more room in the smart feed, but that's actually not true, because sometimes Pinterest will cut off those pins and block them back down to the size. So just stick with the best practices and Pinterest will reward you. So all you have to do is go to Canva. This is completely free. Click on this Pinterest graphic and you can start designing your pins right in here. Over on the side, they show you some ideas, which I actually think is really interesting, depending on what you were trying to go for. Now, what I would recommend if you're going to use one of these ideas, so let's say I really like this one. If you're going to use this idea, what I would recommend is changing it up a bit. So let's say, I mean, obviously I don't want that background. Let's upload this office picture in the back. Okay, well, see, now I realize I can't read that text. So what is the point if I can't read that text? There's a few things I could do. I could change the occupancy of this. I could drop it down, but clearly that's not working. And especially if I wanted the text to be white, that's not going to work well for me. So what I could do is add an overlay. This is how I add overlays when I design my Pinterest pins, actually, and when I just want an overlay in general. I will change the hue a bit. So let's actually make it a little bit darker. And let's say I wanted that. Now, clearly you can see that this has just been an overlay over the whole entire image. And I don't want that. I just want an overlay over the image. So you can arrange this back like that. And you can see, hey, I can actually read this. I can see what it's actually talking about. Now, you might want to change a few of these other things. So let's say I wanted this actually to be stretched like this way, and I wanted this font to be a lot bigger because I want it to really pop out. And let's say, hey, I really don't like that font. My favorite font to use is Lato. So let's go with Lato Heavy. Now, I think it's just a little bit too big. So let's go to 79. Okay, maybe we need to drop it more than that. 77. And let's say I wanted something like that. What I would recommend is changing up the design just a little bit. You don't want to copy the direct layout that was given here, because the chances are a lot of people have actually copied that layout. Now, this is clearly not a good pin. I would not recommend this as a pin to anyone. I just don't think it's that great. And here's why. First, I still think the text is a little bit hard to read. The background is taking up a lot of power in this image, and I don't want that. I don't want that much power. So maybe I would change the overlay to something like that. And then another thing I noticed is this text just isn't doing it for me. I'm not sure why. It's just not interesting. So maybe we could change the spacing a little bit, bring it together. I don't think 15 ways is capitalized enough. So maybe we can change 15 ways to do it a little bit different. We can actually bold this out a little bit more. And let's say we want epic to really stand out as well. So we'll bold epic. I mean, that's a little bit better in my opinion. What I would also do is make this stand out a little bit more, make it more of a border. I would center it, make it make sense there. And then another thing that I really notice is that there's no name, there's no logo on this. People don't understand what website this is coming from. It's really just too generic. So at the bottom, I would put your logo. So mine is just TheContentBug.com. That's what I put on everything. And I stick it right at the bottom because you don't want it too much in the center. And then up top here, you don't actually need this, so you can just get rid of that text. And let's just say that's your pin. Now, I'm still not a huge fan of it. I think this is actually spaced way too far out. I was a bit dramatic on that. But let's say that's your pin. I actually kind of like that. Now, one thing you may notice, I actually think this is pretty dark. I don't think a lot of people would share that image because it's so dark. So maybe I would add a hint of color. And that, to me, makes it a heck of a lot more interesting, and I like that a lot more. So what I would recommend is going over here, try out some designs, create your own layout. This is a great one. I've actually seen this picture used a lot on Pinterest, so I would recommend not using this picture. Come up with your own picture. But this is actually a really great pin, and there are a lot of different ideas in here. So what I want to recommend you guys, let's see if I can go back to my other design. There are a few things I want to recommend to you guys. Make sure that your text can be easily read. So if you have an image in the background, make sure that you have an overlay or something over it so that the text pops out. You really want the text to pop out. And what I would recommend is having it in all caps, accent a few of the words so you guys can barely even tell, but I did accent 15 ways and epic. You really can't tell that much. If I change the font, you actually might be able to tell a little bit more. So let's just go to Lato normal, just so you guys can see what's going on here. So just a little bit more, you can tell that 15 ways and epic are actually bold. Now, I really don't like that as much, so we're going to go back. But you could see it, and maybe if I actually wanted to stand out a little bit more, I would put epic in italic, or some people would actually put epic in a different font. That's really just up to you, but you need your text, the title of the blog post, or something that's going to be really captivating that people are going to click on and they're going to want to learn more. And then at the bottom or somewhere on your pin, you can move it to the bottom right, you can move it to the bottom left, you could just have it center. You need to have your branding and your blog domain so that people know who this belongs to and where to go to learn more. So this is just a sample pin. If you take a look at mine are actually over here. So there are a few things I do to design my pins. One, I have a flat line in the background. So originally my pins look like that. Clearly you can't read it, that's no good. So what I do is I add a overlay over top, just like we did in the other one. Now this is just a white overlay that I changed the occupancy to about 73. It typically goes from 68 to 75, depending on the image, and I bet this one's probably a bit different. So this is down to 71. It just depends on the image and what I'm going for. Most of my pins stay the same, but if the image is too dark, obviously it's going to need a different overlay so that they look cohesive. What I also did, these are just lines that I added. This I broke out into a separate piece of text so that this is clearly larger than this whole section down here. How I did that, let's say we wanted to do that in this 15 ways. What I would do is I would remove this, so I actually just cut it right there. I would keep this text. I'm going to actually copy it just because I want the same font and it makes it a little bit easier on me. And I will paste 15 ways. Now I have 15 ways and we could just change the size. Let's say we wanted it really, really big. 15 ways. Now, I'm still not a fan of that. So what I would honestly do is I would just keep this 15, make that huge, and I would make this ways down here. That's what I would do. But personally, clearly, I like this design because that's the design of my own blog post. I add a barrier and then I add some extra actually text down here to describe a little bit more of what I'm talking about. So in some blog posts, it's more important than others. So this is the actual ways that I monetize my blog in a year. People actually want to know that. You know, 5 practical ways to monetize your blog. It's like, okay, so what? There's going to be a lot of blog posts about that. But if I'm actually saying that these are actual ways that I made money from my blog, these are ways that I really know work because I made money, people are more likely to click on it. And then at the bottom, you guys can see that I have my website domain and I actually included my logo at the bottom too. And I do that with every single blog post. They're all the same and it's a really captivating, easy design that is unique. I don't see another design like this on Pinterest when I am just scrolling through. I have not seen another design like this. What I do notice is that this cursive font is used very frequently, and it is often one of the most seen copies that I notice. Here's a great example. This text is very hard to read, and I would not recommend this for anyone because it is very hard to read. Another idea you could do is include an image on the bottom, include just a block of text at the top, and then you don't have to worry about the overlay. That's a great idea. It's really just up to you what you want your design to be, but the two main things are to make your caption or your title of your blog post easy to read, captivating, and really in your face, and make sure you include your domain, your logo, and that is really it. So get to designing your pins. Let me know if you have any success with these tips, and I hope to see you guys back here in another video. Bye, guys.